Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now finally I did manage to form my third tier 3 alpha catalyst. I formed my third tier 6 basic catalyst some days earlier. That means that the wait is over and I can take another 6-star champion all the way up to rank 4. Which is actually quite awesome, because Eternity of Pain rewards are set to come out quite soon, which is going to put me at 2 full catalysts of each one of these, and I'm just going to be kind of trying to farm the next set for the next rank 4, which hopefully, I don't even know exactly how long it is going to take me, based on whether we do get some new offers or something like that, but shouldn't be too long till I get another rank 4 after this, so I'm actually quite excited about that, beefing up the roster. Now, who will I choose to rank 4 though? And a fair warning here, this isn't necessarily meant to be as a full-on gameplay showcase. This is a showcase more so of my choice and the reasoning why I'm picking the champions that I am, and kind of going over all of that and explaining it. Right, so currently, take a look at my 6-star rank 4 champions, then you're gonna notice that I have 10 of those. We do have Dr. Doom, Silver Surfer, Hercules, Omega Sentinel, Thor Ragnarok, Nimrod, Kitty Pryde, Gore, interestingly, Kingpin, and Mr. Negative. Now, it's always, whenever you decide which champion to rank, it's always extremely important to ask specific questions in regards of what you're trying to achieve. Number one would be whether prestige is important and whether you can improve it. In my case, prestige is quite important, even though I have recently stopped caring about it as much, especially right now with AQ rewards being relatively meaningless, to be honest, compared to the rest of the game. And I fully understand any and all alliances that are just playing like maps 5 or 6 or something like that, because yeah, AQ rank rewards are extremely outdated, and now with the improvements of Glory Store and addition of Catalyst Store for units, the Glory is kind of like the least valuable of those resources, which I'm probably going to discuss in another video. But all that being said, so I cannot improve my prestige right now, even if I wanted to, because only Valkyrie and Quicksilver could do that. That being said, which game modes are the ones that I am focusing most on? And I am in an alliance that typically does push for top 3 masters finish and takes war very seriously. Therefore, alliance war is always part of the consideration, or at the very least, majority of the time. And on a personal level, the only game mode I really do care about is Battlegrounds. All of those things put aside, I want to emphasize that I don't particularly care how good of a champion is in a questing situation, because let's face it, none of us need a rank 4 champion to do Act 7, for instance, or I doubt that any of us are going to need a rank 4 6-star champion to do Act 8 either. I'm sure rank 3s will be perfectly capable of doing that. So all of those things put together, I had to go over multiple options. Number one prerequisite here that I established for myself would be that I want to improve my alliance war defense. Majority of my rank ups are prestige and offensive based, and those are also kind of like the more popular rank ups that people do take. The only champion so far that I ranked up for alliance war defense exclusively was Gore, basically, because he does seem to be getting some kills almost everywhere. And I'm not exactly sure why, but he just seems to be putting in work on alliance war defense, so we're going to enjoy that. And other than that, we can see that Dr. Doom, Silver Surfer, Hercules, Omega Sentinel, Nimrod, Kitty Pryde, Kingpin, those are pretty much the rank ups that almost everybody has and everybody makes. So right off the bat, I was looking for which defenders in Alliance War our alliance doesn't have covered. Obviously, I don't necessarily want to rank up, I don't know, a Super Scroll or relatively crappy champion just for defense. So I'm also trying to combine that with a functionality in Battlegrounds. So at this point, all of a sudden, the options are narrowing quite drastically. I want it to be a champion that currently gets placed on defense in my battle group as a rank 3, so we can upgrade our defense. I want it to be a champion who is good or slash great for battlegrounds, ideally both offensively and defensively, because again, when it comes to battlegrounds, I'm a big advocate of vital importance of champions that fulfill that dual purpose, offensive and defensive use, such as Kingpin, for instance. Great offensively, great defensively. Nick Fury would fit that description, but our battlegrounds already have a Nick Fury rank 4 placed. So there were several options that were available to me, and I was considering iHulk, but iHulk is largely defensive placement. I was considering Toad, and Toad is still very high up on my potential list for future, but we're going to be jumping past that in a second. And ultimately, I ended up on Rintra. Rintra has one of the top 3 biggest health pools in the game. Rintra has plenty of offensive potential with his neutralize, fairly big level 2s, improved power gain whenever opponents have buffs. So he is kind of a potent mystic attacker, especially considering that neutralize is becoming more and more important when it comes to dealing with new champions. Like regular nullifier, stagger, or fate seal abilities are starting to see kind of countermeasures employed in champions like Galen, for instance. Because even if you nullify Galen's buffs, he still gets his cosmic mass filled up, for instance. Or we have champions like Hulkling, where even if you nullify the buffs that he gains in terms of unblockable or indestructible... Oh, I think I claimed the wrong class there. Whoopsie. In terms of unblockable or indestructible, Hulkling just gets a passive version of those buffs instead. So on and so forth. And neutralize prevents buffs from activating in the first place. So it's kind of like the most effective way of dealing with them, because neutralize is different from fate seal, because with neutralize it makes it so that those buffs never try to trigger in the first place. And neutralize, for instance, worked on unstoppable armor, whilst nullify and stagger still let the unstoppable trigger, so on and so forth. So there is a great value in neutralize itself offensively. And obviously defensively, Rintra has increased critical resistance. Rintra, again, as I mentioned before, has a massively large health pool. He can go unstoppable on opponent's special attacks, which can kind of mess them around. And he can go unstoppable when cornered as well. Top of that, he can start inflicting ruptures if opponents do not start knocking him down. There are several other annoying mechanics Rintra has. So I do think that he's extremely capable champion offensively and defensively. Now, I have been playing around with my rank 3 Rintra for a bit. Additionally, I actually gave Rintra an awakening gem, and I took him to 660 at the moment, because I have stopped, or pretty much stopped, opening the new featured 6-star crystal. Because I'm hunting for Scorpion, but it just seems like such a wasted effort, so I'm starting to save shards for my next featured 6-star opening, which is going to be when the next 6-star feature comes around in like 2 months, or 2 months and a bit, so it's going to be a while. And yeah, I'm going to try and get Scorpion in some other way. So let's take a look at Rintra. I have said many wonderful things about him, but let's try and demonstrate it initially. And keep in mind, I'm not the best Rintra player. I definitely do need to learn better. But one of the things you want to do with Rintra is corner the opponent and then finish combo with a light, because that will enable you to root yourself in place and be hyper aggressive. And then with that, you can start getting a ton of ruptures very quickly, as we have here. And because of that, you stack them up and you drop a massive level 2. Now, if it doesn't crit, it still does good amount of damage. And that's one of the things that Rintra got heavily criticized about, was that if you... because level 2 largely depends on whether you crit or don't. And if you don't crit, then blah, 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 you know. Whatever, but that's not quite the case here. Whoopsie, we're getting slapped here a bit, but that doesn't matter. If I want to pause my Raptures, I need to drop a heavy attack, which is also quite a useful ability to have there. So let's just get these guys back in a corner. Let's get some more of these. Uh, 21, not the biggest amount, but still, if it is going to happen to crit, obviously, then it's going to hit hard. If it doesn't crit, it still does decently good amount of damage. I probably should have incorporated a light somewhere in here to gain that passive fury. And here we go, we got 34 raptures, not the biggest, not the worst. Again, 70, no crits here so far, but that's fine. But you can notice that we have eaten quite a few attacks, and Rintra is still quite healthy there. So we can drop level 2 here. I should not have used my root here. And you can see that he can be absolute beast mode. Even right now, no matter how many attacks I have eaten, he's at 98%. And I'm quite sure that, quite positive by the fact that I can likely get it back to 100%. So we ate that entire level 2. And that's kind of the trick with Rintra's root, is you don't mind getting hit by special attacks, just kind of decks out of the last hit, ideally. And life's good. And now we're going to stack up some of these. Wonderful. Again, I mistimed it slightly, but it's fine. So obviously, this is also just like a very generic type of fight. It doesn't showcase all of Rintra's potential, because Rintra is a Mystic champion that does incorporate Neutralize in his kit extremely well, letting him gain more Raptures thanks to that. So hopefully against Juggernaut, we're going to be able to showcase that a bit better. And as I said, I still have some learning about Rintra to do as well myself, but I actually still need to upload like a full-on guide video on Gore too, so I'm a bit behind here. We have had a fairly turbulent news week this time around, so there is that. But here we go. So let's just go with it. Let's just stack some Raptures here on Captain Marvel, because we all like to do that. And now we have 40 Raptures. If we can get crit, could be nice. No crit, 87k, not too bad. Get hit in the face, not the worst thing ever. So I'm gonna go here again for a level 2 this time, level 1 this time around. Get that passive fury. Now I want to finish a combo with a light attack, which is gonna let me get, oh come on, it's gonna let me get more Raptures, and more Raptures is, I didn't expect her to throw that special. So we're gonna drop a heavy attack to pause the Raptures, chain it into level 1, get Cap Marvel back in corner, drop a heavy attack again. Try and build up some more Raptures. I should not have dropped that heavy attack. Fine, we got 42 though. 42 should work, 20 mythical energy, but still, no crits. We haven't crit one time though. Typically I do get slightly luckier with my level 2s. Should have ended the combo with the light here, but it's fine. We're gonna try and get one last biggish crit here. So let's root Captain Marvel in place here. And notice that no matter how many hits we have eaten so far, we're still at 100% health. And that was a 96k non-crit. So that's not too bad there. 96k non-crit. We ate 11 hits, including multiple special attacks, and we finished the fight on 100%. Quite like that. That's quite a good quality to have for Battlegrounds specifically as well. Alright, let's get to it again. So now we're going to deal with Juggy, and Juggy does have access to some buffs, which is obviously just going to make Rintra more effective. Typically, Neutralize does not interact well with Mystic Dispersion, and nor does it here. Basically, Neutralize kind of makes Mystic Dispersion unnecessary. But Rintra kind of has his own version of Mystic Dispersion. Whenever his Neutralize does prevent a buff from activating, then Rintra does gain power if he's awakened. So he does have more access to his special attacks, which obviously is absolutely awesome. Now let's root Juggy in place. Again, took few hits there, avoided the rest of them. Dex out of this, sweet. We got 40 raptures there with absolutely no problem. Drop my level 2. No. Again, we're gonna go get in some extra raptures here. Prevent some buffs, get some power gain. The higher the sig level, obviously, the more power gain we are getting. But it is all perfectly fine as is. So I'm going to drop level 1 here just to dump some power. And now we can start placing more mythical charges again. Fine, let's eat that. Don't care. Let's get hit. Let's hit him back. And now we have, again, 40 raptures. And I'm not even trying to pay much attention. Ooh, that was a nice crit. Finally, we did get a nice crit. And again, every time he would trigger buff, I get a small amount of power gain, which is really annoying to deal with on defense at times. I definitely noticed that. So here we can notice we have 40 raptures and so on Rintra. But again, his damage, you know, his damage is perfectly good and fine even if you never crit on that level 2. But if you do happen to crit on that level 2, obviously, 192k, not too bad for the fact that you never really have to massively build it up or something like that. So, in short, that's kind of Rintra. We finished this entire thing with Rintra being at 100% health. We got hit dozens of times, so he's an absolute tank. As is, you can take a look at that health pool here. 64,000, and that's unboosted. So, if you use him like offensively and boost him up, if he can get, what, 50% increase in health or 55%, that means he would be at around 100,000 health when fully boosted up. He's a big, beefy boy, which is going to be quite awesome. And yeah, now I have 11 champions at a 6-star rank 4 level, which obviously I'm super happy with. Now I need to start thinking of which champion will be the next. I do want to rank up Kitty Pride. Sorry, I do want to rank up Ghost and Tiger quite a lot. I also, for whatever reason, really want to rank up my Warlock. But we'll see where it goes. Obviously, Human Torch and Nick, and there's just so many good champions in this game. And CGR. So, but first I need to establish the fact that I only place rank 4 6 stars on defense. That's kind of like my first short-term goal. I just want to have a full rank 4 6 star defense. Build these champions that are also offensively useful in Battlegrounds. Right, let me know what you guys think of my rank up, and I will catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the